Mark, how much will you look to draw on the way we finish the game against Sheffield United when you look to attack our New Year's Day game tomorrow?
Yeah, first and foremost, we get through today's training, get everybody in and get and see how they are, because there was quite a bit of, that was the most, I think, the biggest output from us for this season, so, or certainly up there with the highest. So I'm going to have a look at that. We were in yesterday, they did the recovery, so we only saw bits of them, and they didn't go out on the grass. Today they've got to go out on the grass, a bit colder than it was yesterday, today, but yeah, we get ready to travel, and the fact that we finished the game really like we wanted to start the game was encouraging, but like I say, the results have been poor. You can't hide away from that fact. I've said it before, if you're looking for something that isn't there, it affects it in a negative way rather than a positive way. So we have to go and do what we do and what we set out to do, which is to try and have a way of playing that we can work at over time and become better at over time. And whilst you're in a good position in the league, that's fine. It's when you start to drop down or the results don't go your way that we're trying to find something that's going to sustain us there. But I think really to remain calm and remain focused is the order of the day. We've got some good players here, and then obviously they're in different stages of their development and the careers. So for me, still exciting. I think we've still got a second half of the season to attack. We've just gone and ended the calendar year with a disappointing defeat, but obviously the last half an hour of the game was a little bit more like us.
You mentioned the output we had, and you've spoke about the identity as well that you want to see from the team. In your words, what is that identity? What does it look like, the best version of us?
The identity, this is something that you set out based on the players you've got, and I think that the players respond to a certain way of playing. And look, I don't want to spell that out because I'm sure opposition watch us all the time and they try and work you out. So you've got to try and tweak things, and players have to adapt in the situations that they're in on a game day. But there is a structure, there is a way that we need to go about things, both in and out of possession. So I want us to continue that and play the faster football. Although it's not always the case, because teams start to try and disrupt that by sitting bodies behind the ball or making sure that they don't come and press or the different triggers in the game, and they see different things in the game that they want to try and exploit from you. But I think you play what the game gives you in any given situation, which is why the game's always different. But for the most part, we've been pretty good last year, and there has been progress. So we want to keep that progress going, because eventually that comes right, and you can sustain the results and the performances.
New Year's Day will mark a year in charge for you at the football club. You mentioned that progress there. How would you assess the progress? And I guess you mentioned it was difficult in defeat to look at positives, but what are the reasons to be optimistic looking into 2026 and beyond?
Yeah, the progress has been clear. We have got an identity. We have got a way of working that is it suits this group of players. It's not it's simplistic for everybody to look at, but it's not simplistic when you're in it and you're in the thick of it, whilst you're trying to get the results that all the supporters want, that we all want. You're coming up with different, or trying to find different ways or different solutions in each game and different games, and obviously you've got the added complications when players are away, and the fact that we've got two full-backs injured and one away with the African Cup of Nations, then it has a major impact on you and what you can do. But I mentioned the injuries to key players, and they're all key players. We've got 20 players, 5 are injured, 20 outfield players, and 5 are injured. That has a significant impact on your team. So, from that perspective, I always like to see players that are brave. They take the ball. They want to play. That's how I want us to be. I don't want us to be smashing the ball from back to front. But there is nothing wrong with a longer pass. You know, there's nothing wrong with playing the right pass at the right time, and that could be, if there's a press coming, that could be you take that press out by playing it a little bit further, or you hit a further man forward. And those connections between players has got to grow or establish and grow. With certain players, because they've played more, it's there more readily, but and that's why it does have an impact on the team when you make those changes. So everybody's got to get up to speed, and this is a chance for them to do it because we've got injuries. That is the progress. We've got a real identity, a real way of working, and that can only get better over time. And obviously, when the squad changes, as you start to move, whether that's new contracts for existing players, whether that's players coming in that will improve us over time, you know, that can be the exciting part of it. But what we've got is a decent platform to build from, and that has been my job, steady the ship, because we could have gone down last year. It took a big effort from everybody to ensure that we stayed in the division from the start. For a start, but from now, you know, or during this season, we've been able to make sure that we've got, you know, we're in a better position at this stage. So we've got to do that and finish that job off. But more than that, you know, there's still opportunity there because there's so many games left. If we can get into a rhythm again, and we will at some point, this cycle of what I said was rubbish results. Once that breaks and we start to pick up those results again, if we can do that and build up a bit of momentum, then anything can happen. The season's open for everybody, really.
You mentioned in your answer there about bravery and taking the ball. When you're in a position like this where you've had the run of results you've had the injuries, players away, games coming thick and fast, what are the characteristics that you believe are required to turn the tide in that regard?
Well, you see the character of everybody, really. You know, I think from all the way through, and they've been good. So players have to step in, they have to step up. I said it before, if you get that opportunity, you've got to be ready to take it. And again, mostly they've been ready to take it, and some of those performances, whether you're in or out of position, you know, if you're out of position, sometimes that can bring its own challenges. But you know, players are dealing with that. You know, and that is part of that character. And you know, the fact that we've continued to play, you can see that the players and how they embrace what we're doing. You can see that, you know, it's there. But that character comes in different forms. You know, the work rate, if you're not in the side, and having to work and understand what the requirements are for you as an individual, but for the team as well. And you know, a lot of those things are starting to show their head. But they have been really, no, they've been constant throughout. But some players that have come through, or players that are sort of getting a bit more game time now, you can see that is starting to sink in a little bit, which is also pleasing.
It's Hull City tomorrow, a side we faced recently. How do you assess the challenge that they pose on New Year's Day?
Hull have done really well, you know, from where they were last season, because they were in a real precarious position themselves. They've rebuilt. They've had managerial change again, and Sergei has come in and has again steadied the ship. And more than that, they've picked up some really good wins along the way, and we remember not so long ago the game at the Bet365 where they came out on top, and when we felt we could have and should have won. So you remember those things, and not being long ago. But I had a good conversation with Sergei and their staff at the end of the game. They're good people. You know, the work that they do is you know, it's clear as well, and yeah, I look forward to a really good occasion, a really good game, and it's obviously the first of the new year.
And just to finish, what would it mean to you, the players and the staff, to go up there to Humberside and get a positive result? 3 points are on offer. You know, that's the be all and end all for us, I think, and to go and do that and play with that desire and that bravery that we always ask for, but some quality as well, and
and have players, you know, this year, you know, we're looking at, you know, how many goals can we score, how many chances can we create per game. Those are things that are always key, but those are the things that I'm searching for, and that I'm looking for from players, not turning down shots, not turning down those opportunities to create, and just keep being brave with the ball and have a real goal this year.